All right, let's dive into some healthy habits today. You sent over this excerpt from WebMD's 12 Habits of Super Healthy People. Looks like it was published August 31st, 2024. So it seems like you're really trying to improve your wellness. And thankfully, we're not talking about anything too crazy. No crazy detoxes or boot camps or anything like that. It seems like it's mostly just a breakdown of simple things that we can all do to feel a bit better. And to help us unpack all this, we have our expert here with us. They're ready to dive into the science behind all of it.
I'm ready. Yeah, what I find really fascinating is, well, it's how much we're learning about the impact that small habits can have on our health overall.
Yeah, for sure. And first up, it looks like we have breakfast. We've all heard it's like the most important meal of the day. But sometimes I'll be honest, I'd rather just hit the snooze button one more time instead of, grabbing a bowl of cereal. So is breakfast really that important for being healthy?
Well, this article makes a pretty strong argument for it, and there's a lot of science that backs it up as well. And it's not just about getting your metabolism going for the day, although that's definitely part of it. There was a study done at the University of Toronto that actually found, well, they found that adults who had a protein-rich breakfast in the morning, they were actually 20% more efficient at solving problems than the people who skipped breakfast.
Yeah.
So if you really want to be on top of your game, that morning meal might be the most important thing.
Okay, you've convinced me. Maybe I'll give up those extra 10 minutes of sleep and have an omelet instead. And speaking of preparing ahead of time, the article also mentions meal prepping. And I've tried that before, but honestly, it just felt like too much work. So is it really worth the effort?
Well, the time you spend planning your meals out for the week can actually save you time later.
Oh, all right.
And it can also save you some stress as well. Basically, it's all about having a strategy for when you get hungry so that you're not just reaching for the quickest and easiest option, which means you'll probably have a lot fewer of those impulse snacks. And it can also help you stick to some of those health goals that you have, like trying to eat less sugar or make sure you're getting enough protein.
So you're not depriving yourself, you're just taking control.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, this next one is pretty obvious, I think. But I'm curious to know if there's more to it. And that's drinking lots of water. We all know that we need to stay hydrated. But what's the science behind WHY? It's so important.
Well, it's definitely more than just not being thirsty, that's for sure. Did you know that even being a little bit dehydrated can cause symptoms that seem like anxiety?
Interesting.
Yeah, your brain really needs that water to work properly. And choosing to drink water instead of sugary drinks can also play a huge role in preventing things like type 2 diabetes.
So it can boost your brain and protect your health. I'll admit, sometimes I just get tired of plain water, though. Do you have any tips on how to make it a little more exciting?
Yeah, the article recommends adding some slices of fruit or cucumber to your water, just to give it a bit more flavor.
All right.
And if you really want to get fancy, you can add a sprig of mint or even just a little squeeze of lime. It'll feel like you're at a spa.
Okay, I like
Little things like that can actually make a big difference.
That's a good point. Okay, so I really love this next one. It's taking an exercise break. When I get tired, I'll admit, I'm usually the type of person to just reach for another cup of coffee. But the article recommends getting up and moving around instead. So what's so great about taking a quick walk or, doing some stretches?
Well, it's like hitting the reset button for your body, and your mind. Just walking for 30 minutes, 5 times a week, that can have a huge impact on your mood. And if you can't do a full 30 minutes all at once, even just doing a few minutes here and there throughout the day can really add up.
Okay, so even if I can't fit in a full workout, those little bits of movement still matter. That's great to know. Okay, this next one might be a little tough for me. And I bet I'm not the only one. And it's going offline. Is it really that important to unplug?
It's extremely important if you want to keep your mental energy up. Think about it this way. Every notification you get, every email, every time you scroll through social media, well, it all takes a little bit of your focus away. Disconnecting gives you a chance to recharge and to focus on things that are more fulfilling for you. The article suggests setting a specific time each day when you're just going to log off of everything.
Oh, okay. So you're basically giving your brain permission to rest and recharge.
Exactly.
All right. That makes sense. And just think of all the things you could do with that extra time. Maybe you could finally pick up that hobby you've always wanted to try. Or just spend some time with your family.
That's a great idea. You're taking back control of your time and your attention. Speaking of using your time well, the next habit is all about keeping your mind sharp. And it's learning something new.
Ooh, I love this one. So the article recommends stuff like learning a new language or taking a dance class. So it's not just about learning new things, it's about keeping our brains active, right?
Right. Mental stimulation is like exercise for your brain. And there's research that
Yeah.
shows, well, it shows that it can actually slow down cognitive decline. And it might even be able to delay Alzheimer's. So picking up pottery or finally learning to play guitar, it's not just fun, it's actually an investment in your brain health for the future.
It's never too late to learn something new. And it's actually good for you. I think I'm finally going to sign up for that photography class I've been thinking about. Okay, this next one is pretty straightforward. And I think we can all agree on this one. And that's to not smoke. Is there anything else to add to this one?
Well, it seems simple enough, but it's still important to emphasize because the impact that smoking has on your health is really huge. The good news is that your body begins to heal itself pretty much as soon as you quit. So if you're thinking about quitting, there's no better time than right now.
That's a good point. It's a great reminder that our bodies are really resilient and that it's never too late to start making positive changes. Okay, let's talk about something we could all use a little more of: sleep. This article lists so many benefits of sleep, like it can improve your mood, make your memory sharper, and even lower your risk of heart disease. Is sleep really that important?
It really is. It's not just about feeling well rested, it's essential for making sure that every system in your body is working its best. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. That's about the right amount for most adults. And consistency is really important. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day, even on the weekends. This can help regulate your body's natural sleep cycle.
I've always wondered, does it matter if I get like all 7 hours of sleep all at once? Or can I just take a few naps throughout the day? I mean, some people really believe in the power of naps.
That's a great question. While a short nap can give you a boost of energy for a bit, it won't give you the same benefits as getting a full night's sleep. When you're in deep sleep, your body is repairing tissue, organizing memories, and releasing important hormones. So while naps can be good sometimes, getting a full 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night is still the best thing you can do.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'll definitely try to make that a priority. All right, this next one takes a little more effort, and it's strength training. Time to hit the gym, reading. I'll admit I'm more of a yoga person myself, but I understand how important it is to build muscle. So what are some of the main benefits?
It's not just about building bigger muscles, although that's definitely a benefit. Strength training can actually increase your
Yeah,
metabolism,
wow.
which means that you'll burn more calories even when you're resting. It also makes your bones and your heart stronger, and those are both essential for living a long and healthy life.
So even if I'm not trying to get super buff, strength training is still really good for my health overall.
That's right.
Okay, I can get behind that. All right, what's next on our list of healthy habits?
So this next one is something I'm a big fan of, and it doesn't involve going to the gym or anything like that. We're talking about getting outside.
Okay, yeah. Who doesn't love a little sunshine and fresh air?
Yeah.
But is it really a habit that we need to, like, plan for?
You might be surprised by how much even just a few minutes outside can improve your well-being. Being out in the sun helps your body produce vitamin D, which is important for your bones, your heart, and even regulating your mood. And if you can get out to a park or a trail somewhere in nature, that's even better.
Wait, so is there actually a difference between just being outside and being outside in nature?
Well, there have been studies that show that being in nature, it has more of a calming effect and reduces your stress levels, more so than just being in a city or somewhere like that. It seems like our brains and bodies are designed to want to connect with nature. So next time you need a break, maybe try going for a walk in a park instead of heading to a coffee shop.
Yeah, I think I'll try that. Okay, speaking of balance, the next habit on our list is, well, it's literally about balance. Physical balance, that is. So why is that so important for being healthy?
Well, having good balance is important for pretty much everything we do, from walking to just avoiding tripping over things. And it's even more important as you get older. Having good balance can help you stay active and keep doing the things you love, and it can reduce your risk of falling and breaking something. You know what else? It's actually also been linked to better muscle tone and even a healthier heart.
Wow, I never realized how much stuff was connected to having good balance. So how can we get better at it? Do we need to start walking on tightropes?
No, thankfully not. Things like yoga and Tai Chi are really good for improving your balance. But even just walking can help, if you really focus on your posture and keeping your core strong.
So it's like adding little balance challenges to the things you do every day.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so last but not least, we have mindfulness. This one seems kind of vague. So what does it really mean to be mindful? And how does it make you healthier?
Mindfulness is all about being present in the moment and not judging yourself for whatever thoughts or feelings you're having. It's about noticing them, but not getting carried away by them. It's harder to do than it sounds, especially with how busy the world is these days. But even just taking a few minutes to focus on your breathing or to meditate, it can make a huge difference.
I've tried using some meditation apps before, but I always feel like I'm doing it wrong. So is there like a right way to be mindful?
Well, it's not really about reaching some perfect state of meditation. It's more about giving yourself the space to just observe your thoughts and feelings without judging them, even doing something as simple as focusing on what it feels like to wash the dishes, or taking the time to enjoy every bite of food you eat. Those can be forms of mindfulness, too.
So it's about really paying attention to the things you do every day,
Mm.
instead of just going through the motions. That's a great way to put it. As we've been going through these 12 habits, I've noticed that they're all kind of connected in a way. It's not just a list.
Yeah.
It's more like all these healthy choices are working together.
You're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. Like, if you're getting enough sleep, you'll probably be in a better mood and be able to focus more. And that makes it easier to stick to your workout routine and to make healthier food choices. It's about looking at your well-being as a whole.
So it's like a positive feedback loop, where doing one healthy thing makes it easier to do other healthy things.
Exactly.
And it's not about being perfect, right? It's about making progress one step at a time.
Absolutely. The most important thing is to figure out what works best for you and to be kind to yourself along the way. Start with small changes. Celebrate the things you do well. And don't beat yourself up if you slip up sometimes. Everyone makes mistakes.
That's very true. You mentioned that there's a lot of science behind these habits. Can you tell us a bit more about that research? What kind of studies are we talking about?
There's tons of research out there, and it's always growing. It shows how the choices we make in our lives can really affect our health. Like, there are a bunch of studies that have shown that getting regular exercise can significantly reduce your risk of developing chronic diseases, like heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and even some types of cancer.
Wow, so it's not just about looking good. It's about staying healthy in the long run.
Exactly.
What about the research on mental health?
Oh, that's just as impressive. Like, there are lots of studies that show that practicing mindfulness can actually reduce the symptoms of anxiety and depression. Now, it's not a cure for those things, but it can be a really helpful tool for managing them.
It's amazing to think that just paying attention to your breathing can have such a big impact on your mental health. So we've talked a lot about the good stuff, but are there any downsides to trying to adopt these habits, or anything we should watch out for?
That's a really good question. I think one of the hardest things is just finding the time and the motivation to fit these things into our lives.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Life can get so busy.
It can. And that's why it's important to make your health a priority. Schedule time to exercise, block out time for meal prepping, set reminders on your phone to drink water.
So it's all about being organized and planning ahead
Yeah.
to make sure you're fitting those healthy choices into your day.
That's right.
But what happens if you slip up? Like, is it all or nothing? Or is it okay to be flexible sometimes?
You definitely need to be flexible. Don't try to change your whole life all at once. Start small, maybe pick one or two habits to work on, and then gradually add more. And if you have a day where you don't do everything perfectly, don't worry about it. Just try to get back on track the next day.
That's good to know. So it's not about being perfect. It's about making changes that you can actually keep up with.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about individual habits, but I'm curious about how all this fits into the bigger picture of preventive healthcare.
Well, these habits are really the foundation of preventive healthcare. By adopting these habits, you're doing things to try and stop chronic diseases from developing and to maintain your well-being overall. So it's not just about treating illnesses after they happen. It's about trying to prevent them from happening in the first place.
So we're basically taking control of our own health.
That's a great way to put it.
And the great thing is, these habits don't just help to prevent diseases. They also make you feel better right now. You'll have more energy, you'll sleep better, you'll be less stressed, you'll just feel better overall.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation. This conversation has really got me thinking about my own health journey. It's been a lot of trying things out, making mistakes, and learning along the way.
Me too. There's always something new to learn, and I think it's important to remember that there's no one right way to be healthy. What works for one person might not work for someone else.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what works best for you, what fits into your life, and what makes you happy. And it's about being patient with yourself. Everyone's journey is different.
I like that. All right, so we've talked about a lot today, but before we finish up, I want to leave you with one last question to think about. If you could add one more habit to this list, what would it be, to really make it the ultimate healthy lifestyle?
Hmm, that's a tough one. We've already covered so much, from taking care of our bodies to keeping our minds sharp. But if I had to add one more thing, I think it would be to focus on building strong social connections.
Oh, interesting. I guess I wouldn't really think of that as a habit,
Yeah.
like exercise or getting enough sleep.
Yeah. But I think it's really important. We were talking about mindfulness and mental well-being. Well, having those strong relationships with people deserves just as much attention. There's a lot of research out there that shows, well, it shows that people who have lots of social connections tend to live longer and healthier lives.
That makes sense. I mean, we're social creatures, right? We're not meant to be alone all the time.
Exactly. And it's not just about having a lot of friends on Facebook or anything like that. It's about having those deep, meaningful relationships where you feel really connected to people. Those are the kinds of relationships that can help you deal with stress better. And they can make you happier and even boost your immune system.
So it's more about the quality of your relationships than the quantity.
Right.
But how do you actually do that? How do you make sure you're building those strong social connections?
Well, it can be something as simple as just making an effort to talk to your friends and family more often. Give them a call, have a video chat, or meet up for coffee. You could also join a club or a group that does something you're interested in, or volunteer in your community, or even just start a conversation with someone you meet while you're out and about.
I like that. It's all about being open to connecting with people and making a real effort to build those relationships. It's so easy to get caught up in your own life and forget to do that.
It is. But even little things can make a big difference. And remember, it's not about having thousands of followers online. It's about having those genuine connections with people who really care about you.
Well said. This has been a really insightful deep dive. We've talked about the science behind all these healthy habits, the amazing benefits they can have, and how important it is to think about your well-being as a whole.
It's been great talking about all this with you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Before we go, I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier, that health is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
Why do you think that's so important to remember?
I think it's important because, well, it reminds us that we don't have to be perfect. We just have to keep trying to improve. And we need to learn from our mistakes along the way and be kind to ourselves throughout the whole process.
It's about enjoying the journey, celebrating the good stuff, and learning from the not-so-good stuff. And most importantly, finding what makes you happy.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the 12 habits of super healthy people. We hope you feel inspired to try some of these things out in your own life.
We do.
And remember, even small changes can make a big difference. So start wherever you are, do what you can, and celebrate every step you take towards becoming a healthier and happier you. Until next time.